Hi Sagittarius, and welcome to November 2020. Happy birthday to all the November Sagittarians. Comment your birthday below and let's all wish each other happy birthdays in November. So Sagittarius, Scorpio season is a time of deep introspection, deep thought, deep contemplation and deep healing, and those energies may not feel so active, but if you do the healing and the work in the first 2 weeks, maybe 1 to 13 days of November, you'll really feel the transformation after the 13th when Jupiter, your ruling planet, conjuncts Pluto, both in your second house, but the energies of this are deeply transforming. 2 days later, we have a new moon in Scorpio sextiling your ruler Jupiter, giving you this cosmic kiss of a wish come true. You can really manifest at this new moon, and if you want to manifest healing from grief or loss or trauma, this is a wonderful time to really set yourself free so that you can live a more authentic and happy life. As well as that, around the 13th, Mars goes direct in your 5th house of true love and children and creativity, meaning that those areas that have felt stifled or stalled, they start to take off and you start to feel more like yourself in the second half of the month as we swoop into your season. Venus will enter Scorpio on the 21st, meaning that your love life takes a very karmic feel. Deja vu or serendipity or deep healing in terms of love and money are really big themes for the second half of the month. Before then, Venus is in Libra, your 11th house of wishes, but also social media and community. You may meet somebody through a friend or online at this time if you're single. Or you may make some kind of wish to reconnect. Now, this is indeed a very split month because of the energies, but the second half offers abundance, excitement, and prosperity in a way that maybe you could not anticipate in the first half. So keep the hope, keep the faith. This is a beautiful month and far more easygoing than October. There's a beautiful full moon in your 7th house of partnerships on the last day of the month. It is an eclipse and we'll be here to go through it in the middle of the month. Have a wonderful month, Sagittarius.
Hi Sagittarius, and welcome to your November tarot portion of your reading. Happy birthday to all the November Sagittarians. Put your birthday in the comment section and let all the other Sagittarians wish you a happy birthday and much success for your new astrological year. So Sagittarius, before we get to your sign, we're going to have to move through the terrain of Scorpio season, your 12th house. And there's a lot of Scorpio energy. There's a new moon there, there is Mercury there, and there's Venus there. The new moon, interestingly, is in really beautiful alignment with your ruler Jupiter. So this new moon, despite being in the 12th house, is really a time that you can use any secret that comes out in November to your advantage. Any information that comes to your head can be used to an advantage to you, especially in terms of money and in terms of worth, what you value, getting really clear on what it is that matters the most to you. As we lead through the 12th house energy, you can really have some beautiful serendipitous soul food awareness and really illuminate what it is within you that you've maybe missed for a while. What is it within you that you have untapped? What area of your soul you haven't explored yet? And just how big a part that's going to be in your next chapter, in your new year. So as we move through the 12th house, you can really feel very sensitive, really very psychic, really very in tune. And let's see what the cards have to say about that. Sagittarius. Okay, so underneath we have the moon. Beautiful, intuitive, mysterious. Sometimes our intuition can be confused with fear, and sometimes fear can be confused with intuition. Of course, you could be dealing with a Pisces, but this is saying, Sagittarius, that as you go through the 12th house, go through it gently. Go through it with a sense of peace and also an attitude of, whatever happens, whatever comes up, I can deal with it. I can explore these feelings rather than running too far into the distance on something new. Here you are, King of Wands, there you are again, Knight of Wands, the Seven of Swords, the Magician, and the Emperor. So Sagittarius, you have very strong fire energy, and that makes sense. Mars finally goes direct on the 13th of November, up here represented by the Emperor, and the Three of Cups, and the King of Cups. Interesting. Very interesting indeed. Okay, so your cards are telling a story, Sagittarius. There are secrets that will come up whenever the sun is in the 12th house, because that's what the sun does, right? It illuminates where it is. And for you, it's in the 12th house, which is secrets. So Seven of Swords in the positive position. As I said, Sagittarius, there's this theme with Jupiter that any secrets that come up kind of benefit you in a big way, especially in career. And I am not telling you to, please don't take this as blackmail, because saying, oh yeah, your career is going to go really well because you're going to find out some kind of secret, that just sounds like extortion. That sounds like blackmail. Please don't do that. Don't tell them I told you to do that. Anyway, okay, so we're deferring. But yes, you know, this can be tapping into information or that psychic awareness that you're going to have in Scorpio season, this kind of inner knowing of just knowing where you need to be at the right time, or what you need to say, or who you need to know in terms of matters of the career prospects that are part of your future. So this can also be in relationships, kind of having an inside scoop, as it were. You have the inside scoop on something that is really important. So that's something to look out for in November. Now, what it's leading to with the Emperor here is a lot of personal integrity, personal autonomy. So again, not blackmail, but personal autonomy. Let's talk about that. Mars goes direct in a very romantic and exciting and playful sector. And immediately we see with the Three of Cups, there's room for celebration. Your season looks kind of lit up here. Parties. So I'm thinking that maybe just by looking at the cards, there's a reunion going on for a lot of Sagittarians, particularly with a water sign, a Scorpio, Cancer, Pisces, maybe with an Aries, maybe with a Gemini, Pisces, and the other fire signs are here too. We get more into the actual star signs in the extended, but the Magician is telling me a different story. So there will be a full moon Gemini at the end of the month, which is in your partnership sector, and it's an eclipse. Now, it's an interesting full moon, and I will have a full video on it going up in November. But it's the Magician energy is in the challenge, and I'm thinking that this is Mercury rather than the Gemini energy. I'm thinking that it's Mercury in retrograde until the 3rd, and then being in shadow, but being in Libra. Now, Libra, Sagittarius, that energy, that side of the sky for you is the sector associated with wishes, and what I would regard as being associated then with manifestation. That's troubling for you. What you're being asked in the first half of November at least to do is to focus on your reactions rather than your actions. You know, because we have control. We don't really have control over what happens to us, but we for sure have control over how we react. And there's a strong focus here on feeling like things aren't moving in some way, shape or form, things aren't taking off the way you wanted, they're not going as quickly, or there's been significant delays that have sort of messed up your plan, especially if your plan is to do with self-employment, and especially if your plan is to do with business and a career change, or social climbing even is something here. Mercury retrograde there is tricky. And it's saying that at least for the first half of the month, because Mercury actually goes back into Scorpio, and I know that you haven't liked that either, because that really has dredged up a lot of stuff for you, especially fears of betrayal, right? You can't miss betrayal this month if it's happening. So just bear that in mind. You won't be able to miss it. Your intuition's way too strong. But that kind of energy makes you feel like, even though you're ruled by Jupiter, you feel a little bit foggy on what it is that you want and how it is coming to you. You feel like it's not necessarily coming as quickly as it usually does, or you feel like there is sort of a dampener effect on it in Scorpio season. But, you know, by the time we get to Sagittarius season, Mars is direct, Jupiter's obviously direct, Neptune will be direct, Pluto is direct. We'll have so much forward motion, and Mercury won't be retrograde anymore. So we will have this forward motion, and you're going to love it, okay? So just for the first half of the month, please kind of focus on your long-term goal, but not necessarily running towards it. Mars only goes direct in the middle of the month, and around that time, around the 13th, is really not a day to push. That's one date to bear in mind. That's not a day to push. But the new moon on the 15th, happening in your 12th house, aspecting your ruler Jupiter, is a beautiful time to manifest, to set intentions, okay? To plant the seeds. Until then, you're going through a bit of a review. Now, let's see what's under the moon. Aha, 6 of Cups and the Hermit. Okay, there's very deep, mysterious tapping into what you can't actually see, but you can feel. There's strong energies of that. With the Hermit, the 6 of Cups and the moon, I'm feeling a little bit like you're going on an inward journey. You might, for the meantime, in November, feel a little bit more introspective, a little bit more antisocial, maybe, or maybe just, in 2020, you could have no choice, I suppose, but to hole up at home. The way that I'm kind of seeing this is that you have a past experience that you're finally getting some closure on, or shining a light on, possibly with a Virgo or a Pisces, but also maybe to do with the past in general, maybe even to do with Virgo season this year, September, end of August. You're casting a light on some past issues and past pains that you've not addressed, Sagittarius, especially if it's to do with illusions of love. I feel like if any of you are in a confused romantic state, or confused about a child, or worried about a partner, or worried about a child, you will get clarity in the latter half of November, okay? It will start to make sense, and it won't be so worrying, really, is what I'm kind of seeing for this, because that's when Mars does go direct. And your cards are also saying that too. The Emperor, the 3 of Cups, and the King of Cups is emotional celebration and steadiness. The Emperor is very steady. So I think Mars going direct in your pleasure zone, your sector of fun, your sector of happiness, is really important to your emotional well-being, especially if you're dealing with a water sign. I'm just going to draw another clarifier. Queen of Swords, or an air sign, Aquarius, Libra, Gemini, 8 of Pentacles. Some of you are worried about school, but this is all going in a new direction. One that gives you more autonomy for sure. Yeah, 9 of Cups. Wishes. A wish fulfillment. You are working steadily towards getting what you want. But Scorpio season is a bit of a time of digging, where you unearth some truths, where you get some information. As I say, I feel like it goes in your favor. This is in your positive section. What you do know won't hurt you is more a motto than what you don't know won't hurt you, right? You're figuring out a lot of information. You're getting a lot of things are coming to a head from the shadows, and that's good, because then we can work with them. I think with the Magician and the Challenge, you maybe felt like things weren't manifesting or working out for you because you didn't have all the information yet. It's kind of that concept of if you're driving behind somebody and they're going really slow and you're frustrated and annoyed by it, but you then come across a bit up the road a really bad accident, and if you had overtaken and sped on and that person hadn't been there and you'd have been careless, you might have been in that accident. That is kind of the vibe. So what's been slowed down has been to make you aware of something first. I think for a lot of you, it's been trying to make you aware that you need more control over your career, but you also need a bit more respect in your relationships. You guys are very easy to get along with. And you're very honest. But sometimes you can kind of have it is what it is energy about people that you can sometimes, your humor as well can sometimes make you overlook where people are really disrespecting you. And that's only sometime. It's not all of the time, because I think Sagittarians have a pretty strong sense of self. But sometimes, for the sake of keeping everybody happy, I think you're surrounded by people in the latter half of the month, and possibly also feeling a bit suffocated by them. Let's look into your oracle cards, actually. Ooh, let's see for Sagittarius. That Emperor energy is so strong. Yeah, all tied up. I feel like you are feeling a bit trapped by circumstances at the moment and not able to move. Well, I suppose doesn't everybody feel like that to an extent this year, but for you this is more of a psychological thing. Cornucopia. Okay. So you're headed towards a that's too many. You're headed towards a cornucopia kind of energy. That makes sense with the Three of Cups. It's sort of like a harvesting energy. I think that is the Deceit card and the man holding a coin. Okay, so no risky investments. None. Don't be giving money to people that you don't trust. Well, obviously you wouldn't do that, but be very careful about who you're getting into bed with financially, because that deceit energy is coming up a couple of times. So I think Sagittarius, for a lot of you, this is career. Be careful of who you share information with in the workplace as well, especially your boss. With the Three of Cups too, if any of you are considering getting emotionally involved with a boss, I would be cautious of that. Or anybody where there's a power dynamic, I would be cautious of that, because I don't feel like it's something that's discreet. Especially if some of you are considering getting involved with someone who's already taken, that's not recommended either. Be careful. Be very careful with that deceitful energy. Again, I do feel like I don't really know if you could really avoid exposing people this month, to be perfectly honest, so I do see that as something intriguing. But be careful of an offer that seems too good to be true, because you need to focus on your own abundance. Your cornucopia here, you could be coming into quite a lot of financial abundance in the next year, or at least by the end of the year, with Jupiter still being in Capricorn. But you don't want other people to come in maliciously on that, so be mindful of that. But either way, I see with the Emperor that this is all leading you towards a position of celebration. When Mars is direct, I think you will feel the energy shift so much. I'm going to go into the extended and get into the water signs, the air signs, the fire signs, and then we'll pull in the earth signs as well and clarify all the cards and go more in depth into the astrology. Thank you so much for joining me here, Sagittarius. Again, happy birthday to all the November Saggies, and I will see you in the extended. Bye.